You may not be hearing much about F-16s operating in Ukraine, but that may well be by design, as new details about F-16 operations in the embattled nation are beginning to trickle their way out to the public. Last week, General Christopher Cavoli, the commander of the U.S. European Command, reported to the Senate Armed Services Committee that Ukrainian F-16s are now flying both offensive and defensive combat operations over Ukraine every day. In the defensive role, the general reported that these fighters have downed a significant number of Russian cruise missiles, which are powered by air-breathing jet engines and usually fly at subsonic speeds, a lot like a tactical aircraft. But F-16s have also been flying offensive operations in eastern Ukraine specifically, bombing Russian positions near the front lines. Now, the general did not disclose how many F-16s are already operating in Ukraine, but he did say that there are more still coming in from European partners, and publicly available reports show that at least 85 F-16s have been promised to Ukraine thus far. Now, the F-16 is among the most capable and widely operated fourth-generation fighters on the planet, making it a logical choice for equipping Ukraine's sort of piecemeal military, because aircraft and support materials can come in from any of the 24 or so countries that fly F-16s today. But F-16s also require fairly long, well-manicured airstrips, and they're most vulnerable to attack in between flights while they're waiting on the tarmac. So Ukraine has to be very secretive about how many F-16s they're flying and where they're operating to limit Russia's ability to strike these jets with long-range cruise or ballistic missiles in between flights. Now, about a month ago, one Ukrainian F-16 pilot broke cover to answer some of the public's questions in an official Ukrainian Air Force release. And that pilot spoke really highly of the F-16, at least as compared to the Soviet-era Su-27s and MiG-29s that Ukraine has been operating since the beginning of the Russian invasion. Now, according to that pilot, the integration of weapons and targeting delivered by the F-16 makes for a very efficient combination, with him estimating that around 80% of all missiles that they launch ultimately scoring direct hits on their targets, even amid the chaos of the battlefield. Now, he didn't reference specific weapons, but we know Ukrainian F-16s have been operating AGM-88 HARMs, high-speed anti-radiation missiles, as well as glide bombs like the GBU-39 small-diameter bomb, which is an incredibly capable weapon. These weapons, of course, provided by the United States. He also highlighted how effective the F-16 has been at hunting airborne targets, like the aforementioned cruise missiles, as well as one-way attack drones, like the Iranian-sourced Shahed-136 that Russian forces call the Garin 2. Now, according to that unnamed pilot, F-16s are flying multiple sorties per day, which is an exceptional pace considering the monumental effort underway to ensure these fighters have enough maintainers and equipment to keep these jets running. Now, he said these fighters are primarily tasked with protecting vital infrastructure, but do conduct bombing missions at what he called a tactical depth into Russian-controlled territory, which means not all that far into Russian-controlled airspace. Now, despite the capabilities of these F-16s, as well as other Western fighters like the Mirage 2000 that Ukraine recently began receiving, that unnamed pilot still emphasized the dire need for more air defense assets to hold Russian attacks at bay, highlighting just how difficult the fighting for their sovereignty continues to be, even as the US attempts to push for a temporary ceasefire.